What is going on today, guys? Catboy Carl here, and welcome back to an episode of WNN, your source for the music production news. We have some interesting stories for you today. We got CUBASE 13, we have Bandcamp filing an unfair labor practice claim, some free plugins, and more. First things first, we're going to talk about FABFILTER Pro R2. FABFILTER Pro R2 is now out. So Pro R2, a sequel to their legendary Reverb. Now, when I spoke about it in my last video, I talked about how there weren't too many new features, and I guess I was a little bit concerned about it because I was worried about the price. And I have some great news. It's actually not that expensive. Not anywhere near as expensive as I thought it was going to be. The original alarm in my head was sounded because of the immersive surround sound sort of thing that they were adding. And after seeing some of the recent plugins with immersive audio, spatial audio, etc. added into it, you may remember those plugins are very expensive. They're like $500. Our next story, Ventide released a new reverb called Black Hole Immersive, and it's $499. $499. $499? So I decided to look up the price on this $500 plugin, and they have cut the price over 50% within a few weeks of release. Yeah, these guys are out of their minds. They tried to sell it for $500, and when that failed, and Pro R2 came out with similar features for less than $200, they realized they had to completely switch it up. Anyone who paid full price for this plugin is absolutely mauling right now. The good news, FABFILTER Pro R2, the full version of it is $169 and the upgrade is $84. It's actually pretty affordable in my opinion for something from FABFILTER. Generally, FABFILTER is on the expensive side, so they actually added more features than they showed in that demo video. Obviously, one of the most important ones being impulse responses being able to be utilized. Apparently, it analyzes the IR files and converts it to reverb settings that match it. Ooh, maybe might be a little bit of AI technology in there. Don't get too spooked, guys. Another big feature, the immersive Dolby Atmos functionality. With layouts up to 9.1.6, they've added two new reverb algorithms to Vintage and Plate. They've improved the interface. They've added an optional speaker setting for decay rate and post EQ bands in surround and immersive layouts. They've added mid-side and left and right options for post EQ bands. They've added a freeze button. They've added thickness, ducking, and auto gate controls. So yeah, I will admit, I definitely got a little bit worried for nothing. And most importantly, they have Dan Worrell on the tutorial. In our next story, we have CUBASE 13. They have redesigned the user interface and added some new plugins and features. They've added a new plugin known as the Vocal Chain. Can't imagine what it would do. They've improved the MIDI composition tools. They've added a small orchestral library. When I say small, I mean 5 gigabytes, but that's small in the world of orchestral libraries. It has 140 articulations for 34 instruments. Some of the new effects include an equalizer, the EQ-P1A, the EQ-M5, as well as Vox Comp, which is specifically designed for vocals. They've added a new feature to their sampler track, which is the spectral warp mode, which provides, according to them, extreme manipulation and powerful envelope creation. They've also added the Black Valve compressor, which is a tube compressor with a lot of warmth. The prices are as follows. Upgrades. One thing I really like about this is how you can see the EQ curves in the middle top area.
CUBASE has always been the choice for professional composers and
I'm not sure if that's true. Do you guys know if that's true? Let me know down in the comments.
ultra complex arrangements. Let's talk vocals. We've got something special for you. Vocal Chain. Vocal Chain has all the tools you need to create your own professional polished vocal sound, from compression, de-essing, and dynamic EQ to widening, delays, and reverbs.
This guy is excellent at selling this. I want to buy it right now.
Chord paths will be your friend. Creative chord progressions are now a breeze thanks to the new presets and the
I really like the way it has the chords here as well as a circle of fifths, and it tells you what interval it is related to what you are currently playing.
And if you're looking for some classic vocoder vocals, the Steinberg vocoder allows you to create those iconic robotic vocals or infuse analog warmth into your tunes.
Analog warmth! This dude really said analog warmth.
CUBASE 13 comes with brand new plugins that will elevate the sound of your mixes.
I do feel like some bits of this they are overselling a bit. I don't know if it's going to elevate the sound of your mixes, not unless you have no VSTs.
The warm sound of the Black Valve compressor, the classic tone of the EQ-P1A and EQ-M5 EQs, and the instant vocal goodness of Vox Comp offer a new sonic palette for your mixes.
I just feel like the script is so crafted, like it's a little bit too much. Everything is effortless, everything is wonderful. It's special, it's analog warmth. It just doesn't feel natural, but I understand they are trying to sell their product. It just feels a little bit heavy-handed, I guess. In our next story here, we're going to talk about Kenny Beats and Rick Rubin's recent interview. Now, I don't really want to go through the entire interview. We're going to go through a few interesting segments that I have found on an article. Thank you, Music Tech. One thing that they talk about is what is missing from music today, and they say it is what SoundCloud used to be. Actually, I have some interesting thoughts on this because, I am a little bit of a SoundCloud veteran myself. I actually built up my following originally on SoundCloud before coming over to YouTube. I started out on SoundCloud when it was pretty fresh, like 2010 or so, and there definitely wasn't any monetization until at least 2014 from what I'm aware of. You could monetize through third parties such as Repost Network, or etc. Now, I believe what they're talking about was the sort of free spirit that SoundCloud used to have. Anybody could upload a song. There was no worry about money. You could upload bootlegs, etc. No one was really worried about, can this be monetized? How well is this going to do? Now, part of the reason why SoundCloud has kind of fallen from grace is really just not keeping up with what the community wants, as well as certain things taking it over, such as repost chains, repost trading. The period where SoundCloud was not monetized was actually pretty short-lived. I don't think that is the exact reason that SoundCloud is on the out. I think currently there are just too many different platforms for people to upload music, and there's probably less people looking to listen to music on SoundCloud that are not already producers or artists or whatever. Now, it is true that you didn't have to used to worry about DMCA strikes, etc., and now you do. And they do cite it being the Wild West, which it really was the Wild West at the time. SoundCloud didn't only directly start monetizing until 5-ish years back. I'm just going off the top of my head here. I might not be completely accurate with that, but it's somewhere in that ballpark for sure. But I do remember a time where SoundCloud was a lot cooler. You'd find a lot of underground sometimes the coolest music you've ever heard on there. Now, the thing is, I think if another SoundCloud came out, I don't think people would react to it the same way. I don't know if listeners would be as interested in it. And I really think that's just due to the saturation of platforms that are available now. I think if there were to be a new SoundCloud, there would have to be something different about it that appealed to a large amount of people. I think another thing that could only help push people in that direction would be if there was something wrong with the current streaming platforms. Now, obviously, there's something wrong with the popular streaming platforms currently. They don't pay artists enough money, and that should be obvious, but a large majority of the audience just doesn't care. There would have to be something that ruins the experience for the audience for them to seek a new platform. The thing is, there are platforms like that now, just no one uses them. In our next story, apparently half of artists would hide the use of AI in their music, according to a recent survey. Can't say that's a shock. AI is not particularly popular in the music world, especially telling people that you've used AI in your music. Now, I'm curious what these people are using AI in their music for. At least in my opinion, a lot of the tools I've come across that utilize AI towards writing music are not great. They don't help you write great music. Now, there are tools that utilize AI to make the tool better, such as Synplant. It seems like FABFILTER Pro R2 may utilize some sort of AI in order to recreate impulse responses. So this was a survey conducted among 1,141 artists across the UK, US, and Germany. This includes singers, songwriters, band members, rappers, producers, instrumentalists. 25% citing that they had already experimented with AI in music, and 46% expressed their willingness to consider it in the future. Now, only 48% of those people said that they would inform listeners when AI was involved. Which I kind of get. You don't really have to tell them, so there's not really a point in telling them to begin with. So I do think this survey is a little bit flawed already from the start, just because that's not something you would typically do, is tell your audience that you've utilized AI in your music. What is the reason to tell them that other than to shock them? I think this is a pretty interesting quote here. It's useful to look back at the introduction of tools like Autotune, which faced criticism in their early days but eventually found their place in the music industry. Now, I do kind of get what they're saying here, but they are a little bit different. While they are both scary new tools, Autotune is more so something that just assists you to get towards where you're going, whereas AI can actually generate ideas completely from scratch. Not that AI can't also be used for assistance, but it can completely take over core parts of the process that reach far beyond vocal tuning, such as generating full songs. They simply do not have the same association in people's minds. It conflicts a bit more with artist integrity. In our next story, we have an update to an older story. You may remember I've done several videos talking about Bandcamp, how 50% of their employees were laid off, how there was a union formed by Bandcamp members, has filed an unfair labor practice claim against Songtradr and Epic Games. They have accused Songtradr of discriminating against employees on the basis of their labor activity. Within the previous 6 months, the employer refused to hire an employee because the employee joined or supported a labor organization, and in order to discourage union activities or membership. Now, there is no proof that they have done this from what I am aware of, but it is very strange that they randomly laid off the 8 selected members of their bargaining committee. They stated that there has not been much transparency from Epic or Songtradr about their decision-making criteria throughout this process. I mentioned before the probability of them doing this was extremely low, and a lot of people seem to feel that way. A decision made by the NLRB will not be decided for at least 7 to 14 weeks. Songtradr cited that these layoffs were done in order to subdue increased operating costs. This upset a lot of people because Bandcamp is one of the best ways to support an artist on the internet these days, so we'll have to see how that one plays out. In our next story, FlexBeat is now out for the MPC. It was only a plugin before this, but you can now use it on selected MPC devices. FlexBeat is essentially Grossbeat, but a little bit better and cheaper. Oddly, when I first reviewed it, it was on sale, and when I looked at the price again now, it is also on sale. Now, I haven't been keeping up with if it's been on sale the entire time, but I have a feeling it's been on sale the entire time. While I'm editing this, I'm gonna actually check the Wayback Machine just at a few points because I'm curious if it's been on sale the whole time. That's illegal, damn it. I'm just kidding. Keep giving us great sales. Or sales. Yeah, I'm not sure how many people are not familiar with Grossbeat, but if you're somehow unfamiliar with Grossbeat or FlexBeat, I guess this will be useful for you. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. This is an awful demo. Okay, I take that back a little bit. The beat's cool, but there's just a lot of modulation going on right now, and I feel like that doesn't really showcase it in the best way. I feel like for the people who are not familiar with FlexBeat, this is just confusing. I think if they wanted to showcase this in a better way, it probably would have been better just to show what the dry loop sounds like and then showcase what you can do with it little by little, building up until, you know, we get to this point here, as opposed to just jumping straight into it. Okay, this is cap here. It says never be out of ideas. Yeah, there ain't no way this is gonna stop you from being in a creative rut. This is just like a cool little beat repeat glitch FX sort of thing. Infiltrator, I know I say that way too much. Shut up. But Infiltrator could probably put never be out of ideas. FlexBeat, Grossbeat, no. Those are not going to make you never be out of ideas. I mean, it's a cool little effect that might, you know, chop up a sound, make a little glitch sound here and there, do a little like scratch effect, but no. It is normally $79.99, but it is on sale for $39.99, which, like I said earlier, it was on sale for $39.99 when I reviewed it. So I'm not sure how long this discount is going to last. It might last forever. It might last before I even finish posting this video. We got another plugin here, Audio Modern's Freezer plugin, which is coincidentally another glitch sort of plugin. It states that it is a real-time glitch sequencer, and Music Radar said it's a real-time glitch sequencer that's here to make your beats sound so cool it hurts. Definitely overselling it, in my opinion. Although there might be some truth to that, because one of the videos they linked in here is pretty painful to listen to. Not that there's anything wrong with the guy talking or anything, but the demo he plays for it is it's like some like painful, resonant, glitchy sounds. So maybe that's what they're referencing. I don't know. So I guess what is interesting about this plugin, it has an infinity button. This will keep creating new patterns as your music plays for as long as you let it. And it's relatively affordable, it seems like. Intro price of 19 euros, regular price 29 euros. Free with the purchase of any other Audio Modern plugin. Let's look at the video. So far, this is not really my favorite demo ever. I guess it could be useful if you're doing like glitchy sort of music, but it's just generally kind of grating, at least in the way they have displayed it here so far. We have a few free plugins. Arteria is giving away Analog Lab Play, which is essentially a simplified version of their Analog Lab software. It comes with 100 presets. The normal version of Analog Lab comes with 2,000, while costing $199. Essentially, Analog Lab's sounds are taken from the Arteria V collection and Pigment synth. You have limited tweakability options on it though, but there are some. And then Native Instruments is giving out Complete Start as well as Isotope Ozone 11 EQ, just the EQ. So Complete Start comes with synths, drum kits, organic instruments, creative sound design tools, gives you the reverb effect ROM as well as Hypha and Replica, their delay plugin. And then the Ozone 11 EQ, obviously it's the EQ from Ozone 11. What is interesting about Ozone 11's free EQ here is the Delta button, and they also have the transient/sustain modes. I'm guessing they're giving away these plugins to try to get you into their system and hopefully buy their other plugins. Okay guys, that's it for this episode of WNN. If you press the like button on this video, I will assault you in broad daylight. YouTube, I'm not really gonna assault anyone, just it's a funny joke, haha. See you guys next time.
Band Incorporated.